Hello and welcome to another video of mine. In this video I'm gonna go through all the books I want to read for the rest of the summer, and I have lots of books that I borrowed from the library, and I also have some here, and I have a lot of books on my audiobook app. So yeah, let's get into it. I sorted the books by genre, and then I'm gonna start with romance books. And the first book is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandanna. This is also fantasy because it is about witches, but it is about witches and they do live quite isolated because they don't really mingle with each other. But this one witch gets this tutor job where she has to tutor 3 young witches, I believe. And they live with their dad or foster dad, I'm not sure. I think the book is really about chosen family and it's supposed to be really cozy and romantic, and it just sounds really amazing, and I feel like everyone has read this book, just not me, so I cannot wait to get into it. So that's the first romance book. And then I also have 7 Days in June by Tia Williams, and this book I believe is a lot more heavy. It's about these two, and they meet for the first time when they were teenagers, but quite randomly they meet again at a writing event because they're both writers, and there they reconnect and they have like 7 days together, I believe, and they each have experienced a lot of trauma, so I believe that is what this book is about. So yeah, a little bit more to the heavy side, but I have heard great things about this book and I cannot wait to read it. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. So that's the 2 books I have as physical copies. For my audiobooks, I have the Brown Sisters series, and it's a theology and it's also like a romance series, and each book follows another sister. And I cannot wait to start this series. I heard it should be really funny and just really romantic, and it just sounds really good for the summer. I don't know much else, so I'm just going in blind, but that's fine with me. And I am currently reading another trilogy, and that's by Jimenez. But in this series, you don't have to read them in order as well. But I started with the first one, I think. And that's called Part of Your World. And it's really funny so far. It's really good. So I am enjoying myself. It's about this woman who gets stuck in the middle of nowhere on the road. And then this man comes by and he pulls her car out from the ditch. And they connect. She's like a famous doctor, big city life. And he comes from this very small town. He doesn't have a lot of money, she has a lot, so they really do have quite different lives. I believe it's about them coming together in this. Her family and friends do not approve of this. Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see how this is gonna go, but so far it's really funny and it's really good, and I just heard so many positive things about this book, so it does live up to the hype so far. So I'm really happy about that. The next romance book is The 7 Year Slip, and this one sounds a little bit weird. It's about this woman, and one day she wakes up and then there's a man standing in her kitchen, and then they found out that they have separate timelines. He's living like 7 years previously than her. So that sounds really interesting, and yeah, I'm excited to get to this one. That's what I know, but it's also really popular, and yeah, we'll see. Then the next one is Lessons in Chemistry, and this one has also been made into a movie, and it's just really popular. It's about this woman, and she's a chemist. Is that how I say it? And she works in this company in the 1960s, and she meets a man there, but apparently she ends up as a single mother, and then she gets a job at this Good Morning television show because she's so good at cooking and chemistry. That's what I know, but there's supposed to be some romance there. I just don't know where it's gonna be, but I'll have to see. Then the next book is Alone with You in the Ether, and I really do want to read this book because it sounds a little bit different than others, because the main characters have some mental issues. I believe the man is obsessed with like timelines or time travel, I'm not sure, and the woman has bipolar disorder. They meet at this event, and then it's about how they tackle their mental health issues. I think this book has some important messages there, so yeah, I'm really excited to see what this book can do. I do like it when it's just not a complete straightforward romance book. It's nice when there's something different there as well, so yeah. Then the next category is like thriller, mystery, and horror books, and this is the category that I don't really read, so I thought this summer maybe I should give it a try. And The first one is The List by Yomi Adegoke. I'm not sure. And this is about a woman who is living in this marriage, and it's a good marriage, but then one day she learns that her husband is getting accused of, I believe, harassing another woman. I'm not sure exactly what it is that he's accused of, but something like that. And then it's about how she's going through the situation. Is she going to believe her husband or the other woman? And I just think that is such an interesting concept, because what would you do if you have a really great husband and then suddenly he is accused of something like this? So I'm quite excited to get to this one. Then the next book, I believe, is a thriller as well, a psychological thriller. And it's about people getting stuck at a hotel, and the power is out everywhere and the internet is down, and yeah, so I believe it has that kind of creepy vibe that you are completely isolated. That's all I know about this book. I think that's a theme that I do like, so I am definitely gonna give it a try. I heard another booktuber talking about this, and she really liked it, and yeah, it's on the list. And then I have the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix, and this is a horror, I believe it is. And it's about this book club, and they are trying to solve these, I think it's murders, and it is children that is getting murdered, so it's quite heavy actually. And then I think that they discover that it is a vampire. Sounds really different. So I also found another book by Grady Hendrix, and that's my best friend's Exorcism, and I've seen a lot of people reading this book, and I heard many positive things about it. So yeah, I definitely want to give that a try. I just know that it's about this girl's friend that gets like possessed by a demon, then she has to save her. So it really has that friendship vibe to this book, even though it is a horror, so maybe that's quite nice. I'll have to see. Then the next book is also a thriller, and that's The Silent Patient. It's about this case where a woman is getting accused of murdering her husband, and she goes silent after he's murdered. I'm not sure why. And then I believe it's about someone who is trying to solve this murder, and it really has a lot of publicity. Yeah, that's what I know, but it sounds really good, and it was really popular a few years ago, so I'll see if this is my thing. Then the next book is also a psychological thriller, and that's Our Wives Under the Sea. It's about these two women living in a marriage, and one is coming back from a submarine expedition that has gone wrong, and she won't talk about it. And then it's about the other wife trying to solve what really happened in that submarine. That's what I know, but it sounded really good, and I really just love the cover, so yeah, I'm excited to see what this book can do as well. Then the next book is called The Death of Mrs. Westaway, and this one is about Harriet, I believe, and she learns that she inherited a lot of money and estate from her aunt or something, but she believes it is a mistake. And she goes to this estate. There she learns that maybe she is in trouble, and there is a oh, what's it called? Okay, it's really coming close. Er du sulten? Nice. I didn't know we had them in our garden. It's just standing there still, like, I don't know what to do. It's really frightening. So I have an audience now. I hope it doesn't have a heart attack. Alright, I had to stop filming after that. I still haven't checked what it's called, actually. Anyways, that was so cute, but it was just so frightened of me. It was like, And then right after, our neighbors came to their garden, and it was a little bit embarrassing to be out there filming, so I was like, no, I'm not filming. And yeah, then I went inside. So it is the next day, but I am trying to continue. But I can't remember where exactly I got to in the list, other than I was at the thrillers. But I think I went through them all. Oh, I just remember one book I didn't talk about. It's by Neil Gaiman, and it's called The Graveyard Book. And from what I heard, this book should be scary. But I don't know if it's kind of like more sweet scary, or if it is like really scary. Neil Gaiman usually writes magical realism, I believe. And I don't know if that's really my style, but I do want to give this book a try. Then I have to see what kind of vibe it has. I think the plot in Neil Gaiman's book is quite hard to explain. I have tried another book by him. I can't remember what it was called, but that was a little bit weird. I don't know if it was my style. You definitely have to like analyze a lot, I think, when you're reading his books. So the next genre I have on my list is a little bit different, but I do want to read books where it centers a little bit more around people with disabilities, because my daughter has cerebral palsy. And yeah, it's just really important to me and to learn more and to be a better person and just to understand what it is to go through something like that. Did find some books, or actually I got them recommended by another booktuber, and the first one is actually a thriller. I Have No Secrets by Penny Joelson. It does say, how do you catch a killer when you can't move and have no voice? So I know that the main character in this book has cerebral palsy, but that's all I know, and that it is a thriller. But I don't know if I like that. If someone is taking advantage of somebody who has cerebral palsy, that's a little bit way too close to home, because my daughter has it. But I want to give it a try, and I want to see what it can do. It does sound interesting, so that's the first one. And then there's this fantasy series, Godkiller. I think it is a duology, and it's by Hanna. Kainer. I don't know how to say her last name. All I know about this is that some of the main characters in this book have disabilities. I think actually several of them. And that it is a fantasy book. So that's all I know. I definitely want to give this a go. And it's just nice also to read something a little bit different. And then we might as well just move on to the fantasy book. And I have a lot. But let's start with what I bought from the library. And the first one is the Divine Rivals series. Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. And it's by Rebecca Ross, and this series is just all over BookTube right now. It's really, really popular, and I have heard mostly great things about it, so I really can't wait. I don't know what it is about yet. I think one of the main characters is a journalist or something, but that's really all I know. But one thing I do know, it's supposed to be romantasy, so a mix of romance and fantasy. And yeah, I like those books. So I'm excited to see what this series can do, because it is so popular. But I do like to go into a popular book like that blind as well. So yeah, that's the first fantasy series. Then I have Atlas 6 and All of Us Villains. And I'm a little bit confused about these two, because I think I'm like mixing the plots of them. Because in this one, there is like an order, and it's like supposed to protect all the very old secrets of a magical society, I think. But every 10th year, they do let 5 new people in, but 6 people have to compete for this enrollment in this order. And yeah, then the last one is getting, I believe. So that is what this is about, and this is also a series. I don't know how many books though. Okay, it does say it's a trilogy. Quite chunky as well. Then there's this one, All of Us Villains, by Amanda Foody and Kristen Lynn Herman. This is by Olive Blake, by the way. And this one says that 7 families is naming one person in that family to compete in a tournament, and that tournament is to death except for the winner, and the winner wins the control of the city. So that's what it says. But so in that way they're quite similar, because both of them are about tournaments and quests. Is this a series as well? I'll see, then I'll put it on the screen if it is. But yeah, they have been wildly popular on BookTube as well. This one even says a TikTok sensation. Cannot wait to get into these books, even though the plot sounds really, really similar. But yeah, I'll see. Maybe I should read them like back to back, and then I can like tell you what would be the best one to read. The size are really different as well. But yeah, I cannot wait. Alright, that's what I have from the library. Then there's this series by Leigh Bardugo, and I believe it, like, overall is called the Grisha series or Shadow and Bone. I'm not quite sure, but I think there's like 3 separate series going on in the same universe. I'm gonna put them all on the screen. I have to check where I'm supposed to start, but there's a lot of books in this series, and I just heard great things about Leigh Bardugo, and I really want to get to this, but that is a long series as well. So I'll just have to check if I'm in the mood for that, because I just feel like I have read so many series lately, so it's just really nice to read some standalones, but usually I love series, so I'll check up on that. Then there's another long series, and that's by Sarah J. Maas, and that's Throne of Glass. And I have read the Agatha series, which is not done, by the way, but I have read all the books that's out there, and I absolutely love them. So I definitely want to try another series by Sarah J. Maas. So I have heard more mixed opinions on Throne of Glass than what I have heard on the Agatha series. But I can't wait to start this. So yeah, I'll have to see what it is about. I don't know much, but I believe that the main character is an assassin. So that's what I know. Then there's also the Fortuna Swan series. I know that there is at least 4 books in this series, and it says that we were meant to be seductive. We were designing to lure humans in. Fortuna Swan is the last of her kind. Her brother disappeared 2 years ago, leaving her with no family or species to speak of. She hides among humans, spending her days working at a bar and her nights searching for him. The bleak patterns go on and on until she catches the eye of a powerful fairy. It sounds really interesting, and I have heard great things about this series as well. So that's definitely a fantasy series I want to give it a try. I believe this is romantasy as well, like a lot of these series are. Then I have a standalone book as well, and that's by Rebecca Ross, and that's Dreams Lie Beneath. So yeah, it is great to have a standalone fantasy as well. So if I really do like Divine Rivals, maybe I want to give Dreams Lie Beneath a try as well. I don't really know what this is about either, but maybe I'm gonna get to that. Okay, moving on to historical fiction. I thought I had a lot on my audiobook app list, but when I went through it, I didn't really find anything that I was like, I am dying to read that book right now. And maybe it's because I cannot remember which book is a historical fiction, but I found 2 books. So the first one is called The Island of Missing Trees by Elif Shafak. And what I know about this book is that it's about 2, I think, teenagers, and they meet on this island, and I don't know where exactly. But they have a little love story going on there, and then a war breaks out. Again, I don't know where and when this takes place. But yeah, they get separated, and then years later, one of them is coming back to this island and is trying to search for this lost love. That's what I know so far, and then I'll learn where exactly this takes place and what kind of war it is when I go into this book. The next book, I actually don't know which one to pick, but I just definitely do want to read a Isabel Allende book. I have read one of her books when I was a kid, actually. I definitely want to try one of her books again, and there's so many, but she usually writes historical fiction and has some strong messages, and her books takes place in South America. Where's she from? She's from Chile. I definitely want to give her a try. I just have to pick what book I'm gonna go with, but there's so many books in my audiobook app, so whatever I am in the mood for. Okay, so that was historical fiction. Then I have a few books left, and I didn't know where to put them, but the first one is called Other Birds by Sarah Addison Allen. And what I know about this is that it's about a girl or woman who moves into this apartment complex, and there she's trying to learn her neighbors, and then she somehow learns all of their secrets. Apparently the plot is a bit vague, but this one has also been really popular, and everyone is saying great things about this book, so I really want to get to it. And it sounds really sweet somehow, maybe a bit heavy as well. I'll have to see. But I have no idea what genre this is. I don't think it's magical realism. Love the cover. And I'm really excited to get to this one. So that's what I had from my library. Then I have a book that's called My Husband by Maud Ventura. And this is a French book, I believe. So it's always nice to read from a lot of countries. I like that. And this book, from what I have heard, is that it's about this woman trying to figure out if her husband really likes her or not, and she has some really weird ways of doing this, and then you're like, is she just over analyzing way too much, or is there actually something going on here? And yeah, that sounds really interesting. It could almost sound like a thriller, but I don't know if it's more like of a funny book or if it's more serious. I'll have to see when I get to that. Then I have Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. And this is a post-apocalyptic book, and that's all I know. I have read another book by Emily St. John Mandel, and I really like that. And HBO also have. Is it a series or is it a movie? I'm not sure. But anyways, there has been a TV production of this book, and I do like post-apocalyptic books, even though it's not the nicest thing to read as it is right now in the world. Again, I have to check in with my mood. Okay, I believe that was it for all the books I wanted to read for this summer, and I hope that you found some inspiration. And if you have a recommendation for me, I would be glad to hear it. And you have a great day. Bye!